Hello, I'm Herm Gailey. We're here on a nice Sunday afternoon. It's breezy, it's beautiful, it's nice time to take a little break. Rode a couple horses, we did a couple other videos and thought it was a good time for a story. Not real high energy. I don't have a lot of high energy right now, so here we go. This is a story that's true, except for the parts I made up. So, you hear people say, well, that's a bomb-proof horse. Well, that's a nice descriptive term, but I wonder how true it would be if it was for real. I wonder how many of those horses they say that about ever saw a bomb. Not that many people have the opportunity to find out if their horse really is bomb-proof, and I'm one of the lucky few. Let me explain. The year was about 1963 or 64. I was about 13 years old. And you have to put the word bomb in context with the times. At that time, bomb didn't mean, I don't know, a terrorist bomb or an IED or the kind of typical bomb that you would set off from an airplane. It meant the big one. The one that sends out a mushroom cloud, and the one the Russians were going to drop on us pretty much any day now. That was the Cold War, and we kept waiting for it to turn hot. That was the time when every kid was pretty sure that they were going to go up in a mushroom cloud, and in school they were equally as sure because they'd herd us out into the hallway every so often and put us through an air raid drill just in case the bomb came. We were going to be safe by going out in the hall, and then we sat down against the wall and we put our head down between our knees, and as every kid said, kissed our ass goodbye. So that's the times. So I'm watching TV. And at that time, even popular TV was all about the Cold War and the Russians, and I was watching what was known as The Man from U.N.C.L.E. It was popular. It was the most recent Cold War confection of a clever American spy and a deadly grim Russian counterpart, and they had to work together. Boy, and sometimes they just barely averted, well, you know, the bomb. They were important, and I was watching them, and almost on cue I heard one hell of a bang, a boom, and a sort of a strange orange glow in the sky. And I left the bedroom where I was watching in my room and went out on our balcony, and off in the distance you could see this orange glow, and what was causing it was this pillar of flame with a big flare at the top. Now, to me, that looked kind of like a mushroom. And I thought, yeah, but the mushroom clouds I've seen all look like they were more dust and smoke, and this is flame. And then it hit me. I'd never seen a picture of one of those mushroom clouds after dark. So, by God, maybe it was the big one. And I wasn't sure if I should go talk to my folks or just go out in the hall, sit down, put my head between my knees, and, well, you know. But as I went out to kiss my ass goodbye, my dad comes out, and he's kind of revved up. He's got a cigar going, and he's pulling his hat down. He says, "The gas plant's blowing up." "It's still going." I said, "That's the gas plant?" Well, the gas plant was in the little town that bordered our farm. Wasn't really a plant, but it was a storage facility where they'd fill all kinds of canisters of, I guess, LP gas to go to homes and businesses. Good-sized cylinders, and then they had what everybody locally called the big tank, and that's where all the gas came from that went into those little cylinders. Well, he said, yeah, the gas plant's blowing up. And then he said something kind of different. He said, and we got to get up there. Well, my dad was a doctor, and he did, you know, something happened bad locally, especially in those days, you know, the local doctor went and he was going to go, but I also think he was going to go because he was wanting to see what was going on. Because my dad, and I didn't really understand it at that time, he had a little different relationship with risk than most people. Whenever there was something everybody was running away from, my dad was going in to see what the hell was going on, and this was no exception, despite the fact that it wasn't quite the big one, but it was close enough. Next thing he says is, the only problem is that I heard on, because he had a police scanner he'd listened to, he said, I heard on the scanner that they've got the roads blocked quite a distance out. And he never missed a beat. He says, so I guess we better get a couple horses out. Well, I didn't know what was going to happen, but if my dad said we're going up to watch the gas plant explode, by God, I was in. So we went down to the barn and we had to decide which horses to take. And my dad saddled a half Arab mare he used to run bird dogs on, and she'd been around gunfire, and you know, she was pretty reliable, but she was sensitive. And I said, you're really going to ride her? He said, you don't understand about these Arabs. He said, they were war horses. This is what they did. You know, they were involved back where they came from. Their bloodlines were involved in war from the get-go. And I reckon this is what she was born to do. She'll be fine. Well, I had to make my selection. I picked an old gelding. It was the first horse I ever bought with my own money. His name was Billy. Billy cost me all of $90. And for $90, you got uncertain bloodlines, a difficult disposition, and unappealing looks, and a ton of guts. He was a tough horse. He wasn't real appealing to look at because his ears were maybe just a little past half normal length. Wherever he came from, and I understood he came from out west, it must have been cold because it had frostbitten his ears off. Well, for $90, I figured you didn't get ears, but you got that guts, and I figured he'll be my war horse. So I saddled the old horse up, my dad saddled his mare. We started up the road, and every so often another canister would go up and shoot, you know, flames up into the sky, or maybe several of them, and there'd be another little pillar. The big pillar, the big mushroom cloud, that was gone. We kept riding up, and we went up the gravel road that led to town. That road had been closed for a while because the bridge kept washing out, but we knew how to get across, so we went across, went up the gravel road. It was about a mile. We got outside of town, and they already got the roads blocked. So my dad rides this horse right up, and the cop that was manning the checkpoint looks at him kind of funny, and he says, I'm a doctor, and I got to get in there and see if I can help. And the cop looks at him, and he was sure enough that he didn't tell him no, and he didn't ask what he was doing with a 13-year-old kid going along, or what he was doing riding a horse into this mess, and maybe even what he was doing smoking a cigar going out into this, you know, gas-infested mess up ahead. He just waved him on. So we went through. We got close, and a bunch of more of these cylinders went off. You could see things flying up in the air, the shrapnel, which thankfully didn't come down on us. Got up to sort of the inner circle, and the town cop was an old guy who had been a Marine and state cop for a while, and this was his part-time semi-retirement job. And my dad rides up, and Harry, the cop, says, Doc, I don't know that there's going to be much you can do here. Unfortunately, sadly, the one guy who was there on duty in the evening was a maintenance man. He was killed. There was nothing to be done for him. And unbelievably, nobody else was hurt at all. So he says, besides, we're going to pull back. He said, there's still these canisters going, but that's not too bad. But he said, the big tank, he said, it's kind of black. And I walked over to it and put my hand on it. It's hot. He said, if that goes, the town's flat. We don't know what's going to happen to everybody in it. We're all pulling back. You ought to do likewise. So that was enough even for my old man. We turned around and started riding back for the gravel road, and behind us you'd still see an orange flare, and you'd see these pillars of flame going up from time to time as another one of these gas canisters cooked off. And the horses just stood firm through the whole deal. And we rode down with all of that stuff going on our bomb-proof horses. So I guess that old horse is long gone, but I can say I knew at least one, well, two horses that were bomb-proof. Next time the gas plant blows up close to you, saddle a horse and find out. Till then.